Hey guys, in this video we're going to be detailing this Audi A5 behind me. It's got a ceramic coating on top of it, and we're going to be highlighting 3 specific products, though I'm using more because these particular products from the last coat might be of great use to you guys in particular situations. So there's going to be kind of the subject of the detail, though I'm going to show you the whole process. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, before we get started, as always, I want to show you guys the before of this Audi and give you a little bit of context. This Audi, I see it probably about every 3 months, and I have in the past already treated the surface of the ceramic coating with the last coat. So this is not the first time I'm using these products on this particular car, and you're going to see a lot of the kind of why I love ceramic coatings here, because though the car looks really dirty now, because yes, it's collected a lot of surface dirt and road salt from the wintertime, it is still going to bead up water 2 years later like a champ. So even though it looks like this, I want you guys to keep in mind as I'm spraying it down, look at some of those videos, be intentional to see that because it's pretty amazing. Now, the very first thing I'm going to be doing, like always, is treating the wheel wells, the wheels, and the tires before I do anything else. So, just to give you guys a little sense of my process, I do things a little bit differently with this car because it's not going to take the same amount of tools, products, and energy that a really dirty, say, like farm truck would take. So basically, I'm using my pump sprayer full of just a full-strength degreaser that I use that I'll hook up in the description box below so you guys can see kind of, again, all the products and tools that I use. But I'm just spraying it, letting it dwell, and then using my pressure washer to hose it off. And I'm being intentional with my pressure washer like always. I say this a lot, but I'm letting it do the work. So from the tire to the wheel well, these are fabric wheel wells as well. You can see I'm not actually using any tools whatsoever other than just high pressure water. So this actually just speaks to the fact that sometimes we overcomplicate things. It's like in a situation like this where, yes, it's really dirty, but it's maintained, I can literally just let the cleaner sit, and then the pressure from the water will do everything else. Now, with the wheels, I'm going to use my Jax Wax wheel cleaner. I've been using that in a lot of videos recently, not for any particular reason other than I just have it on hand, and we did a Jax Wax giveaway on Instagram, so that's what I've got now. So I'm just kind of running out of it, and it foams up really, really nicely. It's a great wheel cleaner. I'm using the Speedmaster brush. I kind of rinse it out in my bucket full of water afterwards. I'm going to rinse the wheel after I get done with the inner barrel. And then I'm going to take the wheel cleaner again with my Work Stuff brushes. And yes, my Work Stuff brush was on the ground. I get flack for that, but it was totally clean. It's not like the bristles were rubbing up against the ground or anything like that. It was sitting on the plastic on the driveway. So anyway, I'm going to get the face of the wheel here with those kind of longer bristles, work that in. It does not take long. Again, these wheels are not ceramic coated, but they are protected. So while the wheel cleaner will probably strip off any protection that was there, it does make it really easy to clean. So I'm going to do that exact same process with all 4 tires, and then we'll move on. Now, my very next step is to use my Jax Wax ceramic soap in my foam cannon. And again, this is not like sponsored by Jax Wax or anything. This is just what I have on hand, and I'm really liking their ceramic soap. It foams up really well, suds up really well, and stays kind of low on the paint, and I really like that in a specific ceramic coating. So anyway, I'm going to rinse the vehicle off first, and as I'm rinsing it, you're going to be able to see some of the hydrophobic properties of the ceramic coating that I used 2 years ago. I'm going to give you guys a few different angles. This is not a particularly good angle, but you're going to see a few different angles as I move around the car, and you'll get to kind of see glimpses of how the water is all beading up. Like if you look on the hood as I pass there, it beads up perfectly. It does the same thing on the windows. The ceramic coating I used 2 years ago was a Nasiol ceramic coating. It's called their NL272. It's my number one favorite ceramic coating that I've ever applied, and I use it all the time, but it's not one that I would suggest for beginners. It is kind of difficult. You need some experience before you start applying something like that. Now you can see all of the crazy foam and suds that come from the foam cannon and the soap that I'm using. I'm going to soap up every area of the car: tires, wheels, wheel wells, and you may have noticed that I'm actually breaking my process here. Normally, I would treat the bugs on the front of the car. When I'm doing a detail like this before I move to a foam cannon, the reason I'm not, again, is because the ceramic coating. It's one of the many reasons why I love ceramic coatings. Not only is this car garage kept and it's kept up with really well, but the ceramic coating itself makes anything on the surface, even the bugs on the front, come off so simply that I don't actually have to separate that step. That's going to come off in the wash, and then I'm going to do a very, very light clay barring and explain that a bit later to make sure that I get all the surface contaminants out, and I really want to maintain that coating. But for now, you guys can see the suds that this foam soap produces, and I'm going to give you guys a few close-ups of the suds as well, so you can see those kind of dripping off the paint, and really just how well this soap works. And then we'll move to an agitation wash. Now, after all of that is washed off, it brings us to the first highlighted product in this video, the last soap, which is, again, from the last coat. And this is kind of like going to be a 3-in-1 toolkit here with the products I'm using. This is kind of step number one. In maintaining a ceramic coating, you're going to want to make sure that you're using the right products. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay on brand. In other words, if I use a Nasiol coating, do I have to use a Nasiol soap and a Nasiol detailer, all that stuff? I would say in most cases, no. But the last soap and their detail spray and their coating that I'm going to be showing kind of step by step here, these are specifically designed to maintenance ceramic coatings. And so that's why, one of the reasons why I've used these actually for about the past year and a half, but it's also why I'm using it on this Audi. And again, there's another previous video that I'll hook up where I used the last coat to maintain the ceramic coating, because it's kind of just time tested. This Audi is a really great subject because we get to see over a long period of time how these coatings maintain that underlying ceramic coating. But again, it's kind of like a 3-in-1 power kit. I get to use their silica, their ceramic infused soap. I get to use their detailer, which is ceramic infused, and then I get to use their topper, which is literally designed to be on top of ceramic coatings and maintain those coatings. And so I can say, just from being around a long time in this industry and using this particular product, at least the past 2 years, These products have done fantastic when it comes to this particular coating and in other coating situations as well, but these are kind of the only ones that I have documented. But a couple notes about the soap in particular. It's super sudsy. You can see I kind of blasted it with my pressure washer, and all those suds kind of like I actually got it in my eye in this video, but I didn't have my GoPro on, so you couldn't see. But super, super sudsy, plenty of foam. And again, I'm using the 2-bucket method here. I've got my grit guard in that first bucket you see, and then I'm pulling my mitt out, dipping it into my the last soap solution, and then going back to the paint. And I've got plenty of water, plenty of soap, so I'm really loading up my mitt and making sure that I have tons of lubrication as I take the mitt across the paint. This is one of those situations where I'm very careful about the way I'm washing the car, and much more intentional than maybe I would be in, say, a farm truck that's going to get dirty again that the customer doesn't care about. This is not that situation, and so as with everything in the detailing world, case by case, situation by situation. But I will say the last soap here that I'm using is taking off all of those surface contaminants and surface dirt very easily, so even some of the tar that's on the paint from kicking up from the road, all of that road salt from the wintertime, and any of that surface regular dust, dirt, and debris is coming off absolutely no problem. Plenty of lubricity, and works as a perfect kind of primer almost before we start applying some of their other products to prepare the paint for that last coat topping. Now I'm moving on to a product called AMP, and this is again from the last coat. Now I will say the way that I kind of think about this product here is as a clay lubricant, and I kind of think about it as like a detail spray, okay? Now again, I would say this is a detail spray for ceramic situations. That's the way these products were designed to work. But a couple notes here. Number one, it works fantastic as a clay lubricant and as almost like a prep for the last coat topping. Now, some people would probably say they don't use that. They don't want anything on the paint other than the ceramic you used itself before they put the last coat onto it. I am not that guy. I like to use this as a clay lubricant. I'm keeping the water on the paint that I rinsed the paint with, and then I'm moving on to do some specific clay barring in some specific areas. Yes, you can use a clay bar on top of certain ceramic coatings. Yes, you need to do it in a certain way. Yes, you need to be very, very careful. But even in the front of the car here that you can see, I'm getting off some of those bugs. I'm using a very, very, very lightly abrasive clay bar. It's like the most fine clay bar that you can get. And again, I'm using that AMP as a sort of detail spray clay lubricant. And again, as like a prep and almost a drying aid before I move in and use the last coat. Now here I'm just taking a little bit of degreaser into the black trim areas that are really difficult to reach, those kind of black trim grill areas. I'm going to take a work stuff brush, work that in there, hose that off. Then I'm going to do that in any other area of the car. There's a few areas of the paint where there's still some tar, and I'm going to take a little bit of degreaser and my work stuff brush to the tar on certain parts of the paint. No, it's not going to damage the ceramic. And then I'm going to finish clay barring the windows and any other part of the paint that I need to. I'm going to dry with a large red plush drying towel, and then we'll move on. But before we move on, we will see what the paint looks like after the AMP is applied and before the final coat is applied to the paint. So here is what the paint looks like before we use the final coat, the last coat, and after we use the amp. So this is kind of just a good idea of what this detail spray, the amp, is going to do to your paint, particularly when you have a ceramic coating on it. Looks fantastic. Like, not a lot to say other than pretty unbelievable results. Now it is time to move on to the last coat. This is a ceramic coating topper. Yes, you can use this to just top bare paint that does not have a ceramic coating, but I would suggest using it in a situation like this. You can see how little I used. 2 sprays to do that entire panel that you see I'm doing right there. It goes on like butter and comes off even easier. Genuinely, one of the easiest products to apply. Now I am kind of in the shade. It's an overcast day. I'm not in the garage, but definitely not hot paint. I'm going to apply this to the windows, to plastic trim, to chrome pieces, and of course to all of the paint and any glass as well. I'm going to apply it to the rims, to the wheels as well after I get done applying it to the paint before we move on to the tires. But you can see super easy to apply on all of these surfaces. It's going to make the paint pop, as you're going to see, and it basically works as a ceramic coating protection, ceramic coating maintenance, and it just brings back that shine and that gloss that's lost when you have that road salt sitting on the paint. So you guys can see me work around the paint with this product, and then we're going to come back in for the tires. Now for the tires, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but I am using Optimum Tire Coating and Protection, which is a very intense tire protection and coating. It's not one that you can just spray on or just kind of quickly apply. This takes some serious time. It's a very specific kind of tire protection. In a different video, I will highlight that, but I'm going to show you guys kind of just the process on 2 different tires, what this looks like. Kind of goes on with a blue haze. There's a lot of details that goes into applying this and how to do it correctly, but it's kind of just a very long-lasting tire protection that's not too shiny and not too matte, and it gives this fantastic result that is a very, very long-term protection. And so again, there's certain products and tools I use here that I wouldn't in other situations, but again, case by case. This is a much nicer vehicle. It's much better maintained than other vehicles, and so I kind of treat it as such. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the process and the video. If you want to check out any of the products or tools used in this video, like I said, there's going to be a very organized list below this video in the description box laying out everything I use and links where you can buy all of that stuff. If you want to check out kind of the highlight products of the video, the last soap from the last coat, their amp, or the last coat, then definitely check out the description box. Again, they will be down there. As always, if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing channel, consider subscribing and tap the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos just like this. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, and as always, thank you guys so much for being involved here. And from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.